programming in C# and ASP.NET. This is Mr. Wilson, your instructor and guide, as we take a closer look at C# and ASP.NET. CS, this is Video CS, ASP 015, Spans of Time. Let's go to Visual Studios. Hey there, programmers. Here we are, we're ready to talk about time spans and, what is a time span? Well, the time span is just like the date time we just looked at, and the date time fixes one particular point in time. The time span is the time between two different points, whether that point is now or whether that time is sometime in the past, how much time is in between those, or a time in the future. And so we're going to look at what does that look like. If we want to program that, how do we do it? And so if you look at the screen, I have a real simple program here, basically a label that says my time span. I have a result label, just like we're used to seeing, and I have a button. And so those are the things that are in this very simple program that we're going to be using to look at this. So let's go ahead and go over here. And remember, if you're just building this and you're just going to go ahead and build this, and then you're going to double click this button to build this code here. And you don't need a copy of mine. Just go ahead and make your own. And so we go over here and we look, and here's my private void button click, and we're going to do a little bit of coding on the inside of here. So what do we want to do first? The first thing that we're going to do is there's something I want to show you the ability for you to be able to do, and that is to come in here and put in a comment. And in that comment, I am going to put HTTP and then colon and backslash and is.gd backslash and time span. So one of the things that you can do in Visual Studios, and we haven't talked about this yet, is you can put in a URL just like the one that I've put in here. And then if I bring my cursor and go over that URL, look what it does. It says control click to follow the link. So I could put a link to information that's on the web in my program for other programmers to look at, or for me to look at. So I can look over this, and I can just hit control. Oop, here, control. Sorry, control. And notice then when I hit control, I get a little finger here instead, and I can click that, and that will then open that link in my browser. So when it opens up, then I can go and pull that up for you. And here that page is. And so this is what the page looks like, and it says a timespan.parse method. And it comes down here, and here is a look at what that would look like. Public static, time span, parse, and string. And we're putting a string in here, and that's what it's going to check, and string S. And then it gives specifics further down in what that string should look like. Okay, let's just go right down here. And it shows us this. It shows us this, this right here as an explanation of what the string should look like that we put in. Well, that's not super helpful, but we can see that it says down here it explains it. WS, optional white space. So then the days go in there, and then a dot, and then the hours, HH, and then a colon, and then the minutes, and then the seconds, and then a dot, and finally the fractions of seconds or milliseconds goes in behind that. And so that's kind of how that looks together. And there's also some examples up here in this. So in using this, we could get to this page and look over some of the information that matches this, and you really can use that on any of the things that you're looking at doing in your program. So let's just look. I'm going to just show you days, and then dot, and then hours, and then colon, and minutes, and then colon seconds, and then dot, and then milliseconds. Okay. All right. So that's the outline of the information that we would be putting in into a time span. All right, let's see what that would look like. Let's just come down here and let's say time span my my time span equals time span and then after time span we want to put dot. Remember, this is a parse, so we want to come down here and hit parse, and then we're going to put parentheses, and inside that it shows, hey, you're going to put a string S in there, and we know up above that is our model for that string S. So let's, it is a string, so it has to go inside of parentheses, or inside of quotes. So let's say it's 1.6 colon 35 colon 22 dot 6. I think I got those all right. Okay. So that would be a time span, and as you can see, we've got no red squiggly lines, so everything on there works fine. And so let's do something with this now that we've built this time span. And we know what the format looks like. Let's say we wanted to, let's do something else with time spans. Let's say, remember DateTime. DateTime, and let's create remember we did my birthday in the last one, right? And equals date, there it is, date time, dot parse, and we're going to pass into it my birth date, because that was 12/09/1963. And so we've put that in there. So we've created a date time with, and we talked about date times are a specific moment in time. And so we have put that into the variable my birthday. So let's do time span. Yep, time span. Let's call it age. Yeah. Lowercase. My age equals, and then we're going to put date time dot now, so we're comparing it to now, and then we're going to say dot, and look, it brings up subtract. Let's just put that on there, because what we're going to do is we're going to take now and my birth date and subtract that from there, and then we're going to figure out the time spans in between. Okay, and then in here we're going to put my birthday. Okay, so let's just play with that and say result. That's our result label that's on the other side. Dot content is going to equal, and then if we put my age dot, now notice all the things that come up. It says days. It says add, compare to. It says divide, duration. But more importantly, it says hours and milliseconds and total days, total hours. So if we're playing with this, there's a lot of different things that are built-in pieces that we can pull. Let's just say we're going to come up here and we're going to say hours. And it says get hours component of time interval represented by the current time structure. So this is going to be hours, but this is going to be hours from one time to another, not the full amount of hours, okay? So hours and hours, and then dot. Remember, we have to have it as a string, so we're going to put toString, and that is a method, so we need those parentheses, okay? So if we were to do this, and then let's say we hit the save button, and we go ahead and hit build. And so it goes through and it builds my project for me. There we go, build succeeded. And now I'm going to run it. And so as I run it, it goes through and runs it through the compiler, and then executes it. And here it is. Okay. And so here's my project. And so if I come down here and hit the OK Go, hey, it says 11. And so it basically assumes that the date that I gave it was 12 midnight, and so it compares the amount of hours from 12 midnight to now, and that would be 11 because it is just now 11 o'clock in the day. So that's why it gives us 11 back. Okay, so that's interesting. Let me go ahead and close that. Okay, so in looking at our code here, let's say we want to do something else. Okay, I'm just going to comment that out. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say result label dot content, and I'm going to say equals, and now I'm going to say my age dot, and what if we wanted to do total days? So we go to total days dot toString. That's a method. So this would tell me the total number of days that I've been alive. Okay, so let's go ahead and we will click the save button, and we will hit rebuild solution. Just in case you have never caught on, the difference between build and rebuild is if you've already built it once, you want to use rebuild, because what it does is it clears the memory and everything before it runs your project. So in case there's any residual information that's left over in the memory, it will clean that all out, okay? So let's go ahead and run the project, and here it is. And so in clicking this button, it will tell me that I've been alive for 20,737 days, and then a fraction of the days, hours, minutes, all in a fraction beyond that. So 20,000 days, that's pretty good. Headed towards 21,000, so that's kind of interesting. But it kind of gives us an idea of how we can compare days and hours and those kinds of things in our program to do some manipulation with times and with date span or time spans and with different dates. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. I would say there's probably a chance that there's going to be a challenge coming in the near future that will work with this, and you may need to come back and look at this video again, or do a little more research on this this idea of time spans and birthdays. Please take time and fill your own birthday in and see how many days you've been alive, how many hours and minutes, and just kind of play with this code a little bit before you move on to the next video. Let's go to the next video. I look forward to seeing you there. Our next video is CS ASP 016, working with the calendar. I look forward to seeing you there.